Good afternoon, all of you. We are happy to meet you all in Digiterati's series of unboxing technologies. And today we would be walking through artificial intelligence. I would like to start with a Sanskrit sloka. I have always been surprised with my guru and mentor mentioning this sloka, and I have basically learned from him, and I'm very happy to share this sloka with you. Acharya Padam Adate, Padam Sishya Swamedhaya, Sah Brahmacharya Padam, Padam Kalakramenacha. This is a very thought-provoking sloka. I'll come back to the sloka at the end of this session. Now let's just go ahead and explore what is artificial intelligence. The book definition says it is something that would make it possible for machines to learn from experience, adjust to new inputs, and perform human-like tasks. So what we are expecting out of artificial intelligence is we have these machines. The machines basically perform a given set of tasks. That is, you give an instruction and it works based on that instruction. But what we are expecting with artificial intelligence is we want the machine to learn from experience and use new inputs and perform tasks the way human performs a task. Very simple as that. Like I travel from place A to place B. Every day I take a particular route. So this is over a period of experience. I know from A to B, this is how we travel. Supposing there is a traffic restriction or a traffic regulation for that matter, A to B, the straight route is not available. There is an in-between point C, you have to travel via C. So the ability of a machine to understand, I travel A to B, but there is a traffic regulation, so you have to travel from A to C and from C to B and help you navigate like that. So this is the basic idea of artificial intelligence, that not only to listen to the instructions, whenever you perform a task, keep a track of the task, and also the ability to understand new information and adapt to the new information and perform like a human being. So how is this possible? This is possible because computers can be trained to accomplish specific tasks. How can we train a computer? We can train a computer only by processing large amount of data. You cannot do this by giving 5 samples and do this. It is not possible. We need to provide a large sample of data. Basically, internally, what happens is called as pattern recognizing. Whatever data we feed in a, each of that should fall into a particular industry. Based on that industry, the moment we start to feed the data, it creates what is called as a pattern. So once it understands the pattern, it studies a pattern. If there is any small deviation in the pattern also, it will be able to identify, and even in the same pattern, it will be able to give. If this kind of a pattern is available, it will be, the system will be able to predict this is what will happen, this is how it will work. All right, so the idea of artificial intelligence is where we are going to train a computer by giving it large volume of data. So two things that we need to remember before we go further into artificial intelligence. One, we are going to make machine learn by its own self. How are we going to make machines learn by its own self? By giving large volume of data. So only when we have large volume of data, this will become successful. The science of training machines to perform human tasks. When we talk about artificial intelligence, it is mandatory for us to know what is machine learning. So the mechanism by which we are going to make the machines learn, train the machine how to learn, is what we call as machine learning. So two important things: artificial intelligence means the machines should learn. So to help the machine, to train the machines on how to learn, what to learn, when to learn, that is what we classify it as machine learning. Now, to understand this, I'm just going to introduce a very small little example here of a product which has recently won the Best Startup Award. It's a very interesting product, a video which runs for less than a minute. I request you to watch this video.
Introducing Dozy, your contact-free health companion that makes taking care of your health easy. Dozy comes with a thin sensor sheet, a small module, and a smartphone app. Setting up Dozy is a simple one-time process. Place the sensor sheet below your mattress, plug Dozy in, and connect it to your smartphone. Now, every night, Dozy will monitor your health, no charging and nothing to wear. All you need to do is sleep. Dozy tracks your heart rate, respiration, and stress levels throughout the night. With its clinically validated technology, it builds an accurate profile of your sleep stages, measuring the quality and restfulness of your sleep. In the morning, wake up refreshed at the right moment in your sleep cycle with Dozy Smart Alarm. On the Dozy app, you can see an easy-to-understand summary of your sleep and health. Your sleep score will tell you how well you slept last night. You can also see if your heart rate or respiration were outside of your healthy range. Dozy can notify you of potential illnesses before you see any symptoms, so that you can take timely action and prevent medical emergencies. You can share your health profile with your family and caregivers so that they know how you're doing. Besides keeping track of your health, Dozy also helps you to actively improve it with personalized tips from experts. Dozy also comes with a guided meditation feature and sleep library that can help you to de-stress and fall asleep faster. And for the first time ever, you can measure how impactful your meditation session was to improve your practice further. With Dozy, taking care of your health is as easy as sleeping.
Thank you for watching the video along with me. The aim of the video is, the idea is to show you how artificial intelligence is being used to monitor a health without disturbing the patient or the person. What is this artificial intelligence doing? It is recording the data of the patient or the person while the person is sleeping, including the heart rate and the pulse rate and the sleep patterns. And one, it works as an alarm to help you wake up at the right time. And number two, it also monitors and predicts any health issues. If there is any change in the heartbeat or any slight variation, and if there is a need for you to consult the doctor, it alerts, it does a prediction. So how is this possible? The example gives us a lot of information to understand and analyze from this. As you see here, this is possible only when you have a large volume of data of people and their recorded information, and what would be the variation if you have the variation ranges, what kind of variation is allowed, for what variation, whom should be alerted, whom should you contact. All such information needs to be recorded. So the idea of making a machine learn and feeding information, understanding patterns, and based on the pattern, predicting and giving information, analyzing the pattern and giving the data is what has been implemented in this product called Dozy. And this is what we do with artificial intelligence. It studies our own information and helps us perform better, helps us make decision better. Is artificial intelligence something that has come up yesterday? It basically started in the 1950s with the neural networks. Neural networks were like that's something that gave the idea of thinking machines. So the early idea was we wanted to have a machine that would think, thinking machine, and it started in the early 1950s. And over a period of time, this neural network started establishing really well. And the neural network helps us in a lot of other learning capabilities as well. And slowly in the 1980s, machine learning became popular. The idea is to make the machine learn, gather information and learn from that. So if I could quote an example, the autopilot in the aircrafts are all the early usage of artificial intelligence, and we have found the usage as early as 1950 itself, applying this autopilot technology. And today we are using deep learning. Deep learning again is what we are going further. So when the AI booms, that is when we have more data, when the machines have already read a lot of information and they know the patterns in different domains, in different businesses, we can venture into deep learning. Deep learning can even think before a human being thinks. So today what we are planning is to think like a human being, think along with a human being, and what we are expecting is to think even before a human being thinks. So this is the travel plan that we are walking through. Now with artificial intelligence, we have what is called as artificial intelligence falls under three major categories: narrow intelligence, general intelligence, and super intelligence. The speech recognition software or the voice to text or the voice assistants, these are called narrow intelligence. That is, it can perform only one task. So I have a speech recognition software or a product that can only recognize the speech. Or if I have a voice to text, that would do only that activity. Is called narrow intelligence. So that AI engine will focus on only one activity of the AI, one particular task it could perform. That is the narrow intelligence. Then we have this general intelligence. It's general purpose. Possibility is that it can do multiple activities, and something that is multitasking means we will obviously say it will be as intelligent as a human brain. And the added advantage with the general intelligence is that it can learn and it can improve. The way we gave the definition, it has a set of information, it has already studied and it has learned a particular movement, but when you give a new input, it can also take the new input and adjust the patterns based on the new input and give you suggestions based on the new input. So it is the general intelligence. So general intelligence will include multiple features of the artificial intelligence spectrum. And then we have a super intelligence where it can think more than a human being. Human intelligence, it's so sophisticated and it can think about abstraction. It can think about anything that is, it's like a superhuman being. That's the super intelligence. Three broad categories of artificial intelligence that are available. Now, why is artificial intelligence important? It automates repetitive learning and discovery through data. So this repetitive learning is very, very important. And we have a large volume of data. By now, we have accumulated 60 years, 6 decades of information. Any business, any industry that you know, we have accumulated data over the last 60, 70 years. Banking or education or healthcare or automobile, we have so much of information. But so far we have saved this data or we accumulated this data only to help us perform the day-to-day transaction. But only now we understand that this data is the wealth. By reading this data, we are able to understand how people think, how a business work, how a business cycle work, and how things change. All these information we are able to infer from this data. So discovery through data. And then AI helps us to add intelligence. It adds intelligence to the decision-making process in the prediction. So I guess all of you would be using this weather prediction app. If you use weather prediction app, 2 years ago when Chennai, had the wind and the rain and all that, we received a message saying that 200 years ago, once upon a time, this is how it was in Chennai. Based on that fact, this year summer would be horrible. Summer would be very, very hot based on what happened 200 years ago. So this information is what is being used. The data that we have saved so long is what is being used to predict what will happen in the future. And it adapts to progressive learning algorithms. So see that we have accumulated data in 60, 70 years. Today, we have systems which accumulates 1 GB data in an hour. In an hour, we will say 1 GB data. So in a day, 24 GB data, then you can understand the volume of data. So immediately our mind would think about like, it's like a huge library in which I am and how will I end up reading. But here, the AI mechanism works in such a way that they have this progressive learning algorithms. In a fraction of a second, they can read all the data that is accumulated over a period of 60, 70 years, and then analyze the data and analyze for deeper information, and they can come with incredible accuracy. The accuracy that it achieves is very, very important. And all these we do only from the data, not based on a human ability to predict or intuition, or as someone feels that I feel like it may rain tomorrow. No, it's not based on that. It is based on the data that the predictions are made. So if you look at this pattern, whether you want to invest tomorrow or not, you need artificial intelligence to help you suggest. If you want to know whether you can go out without an umbrella or you need an umbrella tomorrow, you need to know the artificial intelligence need to help us. If there is an election and you want to know which party is going to win, you need to have artificial intelligence in that place. You want to buy something and you want to know, today we have artificial intelligence in places which suggest whether a striped shirt looks good on you or a polka dot looks good on you, to such as, no, the AI works in so many other phases too. So some of you might have seen this beauty haircut thing where a particular haircut suits your frame or not, your face is a round face and this haircut will be suitable for you or not, could be suggested. So many other things could be done with this artificial intelligence. So our primary aim, when we start with artificial intelligence, the first thing that we need to do is allow the computer to learn by itself. There are also places where we would do what is called as a guided learning, that we would have to give certain set of algorithm to make a change in its learning pattern. But the first primary objective is to make the computer learn by itself. The learning begins with observation, obviously. So it would have to observe the data, see how the flow of the data is, what is the pattern in which it is happening. So, supposing I am running an AI for Amazon.com and you are a customer, I have a bunch of customers. The observation would be, how frequently does a person buy and what do they buy? What is the frequency of buying and how frequently festivals occur? How frequently you change your mobile? How frequent? So these are all observations. And how can we make these observations very clear? Only when we have large volume of data. And then direct experience. When you log in, I'm just tracking your movements and I see what you do. You see 10 products and then buy the first product, or you see the first product and buy the first product itself. Do you see an ad and then come and buy, or you have made up your mind and you come and search for a product and buy, or you just like that go through, you have a glance of the various products and buy? So the direct experience of tracking all your movement we study. Then we can give instructions to study. So we can ask, we can write algorithms. As a programmer, we can feed in some algorithms to study the pattern of buying in the age group of 20 to 25, 25 to 30, 20 to 25 men, 20 to 25 women. We can give certain instruction. Look for patterns. This is the most important thing. Patterns helps us to understand a lot. So majority of the things fall under the same pattern. Patterns it in itself is a huge topic, and how we study a pattern, how a pattern is understood, how a deviation in a pattern is understood, how a deviation happens to be the right thing, what kind of deviation would be a wrong thing. All these are in itself a big topic to understand. And then we have better decisions. We'll be able to make better decisions in the future based on the examples that we provide. This is one of the most important things. Even though the machines have the capability to learn, it completely depends on what kind of data we give in for it to understand. If you give the picture of a cat and you feed the information that it is a dog, the machine will learn that it is a dog. Or, if you do not give any label at all, you give a picture of a cat and you do not give any label at all, the machine will think that this is something object. I don't have to know what name it is. So it is very, very important that we have to give the right example and give better, good information. Only then the machine would be able to learn from this information. So various studies depends on the success of AI, also depends on what kind of data we give and what kind of label. Again, if we go into big data and other segments, we always talk about this information. When data analysis comes into picture, whether it is a labeled data or unlabeled data. So if you have labeled data, it would make the system learn and understand the patterns better. So if we have to venture into artificial intelligence, we have to make the machine learn. We need to have algorithms. We have to help it learn. So it's like a guided learning also we need to do. The most important thing is we need granular data. We need all the information. As I told you, if you're buying, I need to study the pattern. I need to track all your movements. We have large volumes of data. We need large volume of data because we have this proverb, right? Samples are not examples. You need repetitive behavior for you to take something as an example. So we need large volume of data and extremely diverse data. Only then we can have different pattern. If you have the same behavior of someone, say supposing I'm a Swiggy and you track my information alone, you will end up thinking that the entire Chennai population is a vegetarian population. If you track diverse population only, you will know whether what does a vegetarian do, what does a non-vegetarian do. If you take a vegetarian, does a vegetarian prefer a South Indian food or a North Indian food? So, this is kind of patterns that we need to study. So for which we need extremely diverse data. So when we started, we talked about the narrow intelligence, general intelligence, and super intelligence. And what are the components of AI? What what are the applications that we see of AI? In AI, we have this image recognition. So you might have heard in places like pathologists use. AI is being used for recognizing patterns in the healthcare industry to identify patterns in detecting cancer in tumors and all that. So image recognition. Speech recognition, of course, you know how speech recognition is being used. Chatbots are very, very as intelligent as human being to talk to you, converse to you. You may not even know that it is a chatbot, a machine that is talking to you. Looks very human, like a conversation. Natural language generation is yet another application. So today, language is not a hindrance. Any language, I can have an AI system which can teach me a Japanese language and also do something else for me. So that is natural language generation. And sentiment analysis. There are AI application which can look at your face and identify your emotion. I will talk to you about the practical application of this in Hello by Google in a few minutes from now. It can look at your face and show you the respective emojis, whether you are happy or you're sad or you're excited or in what kind of mindset you are. And the models that are being used with AI, we have this deep learning, machine learning, and the neural networks. And the software or hardware for training and running models, we have these GPUs, parallel processing tools, various parallel processing tools are there, cloud data storage, and computer platform. The fundamental thing here, the success of AI lies on the data that you have. Unless and otherwise you have an access to the large volume of data and you feed the data and make your machine read the data again and again, we will not be able to give the right kind of information. And the programming languages, you can go ahead with Python, TensorFlow, Java, C. These are very, very popular. And with any of these languages and the IDEs that you're popular, you're familiar with, you can start to develop your AI content application. These languages are simple and that you would be knowing them. It's another simple example here. How does this work? This is the Jarvis server is one of the things that I took from Facebook and Google. They use this Jarvis server. How do they work? Almost all their products depend on this Jarvis server. This is how they are able to manage so many things. You know this. I guess many of you would have seen these ads where you could make a phone call from your while you are driving home and still turn on your AC at home, or reduce the temperature of a running AC, or you can give instructions to your microwave to warm something and keep ready. So many things like that are there in a part of this. So how do they do it? There are three important things. There is a language processing, speech recognition, and face recognition. Who is giving this information? What language is it coming in, and how do you have to take this information? And this could come from a messenger bot or an iOS app or a door camera to get this information. By using this information, they have integrated this to handle lights at a home, thermostat that is controlling the temperature, to open a door or to close a door, to use cameras, to use the microwaves, to various things like that. The smart homes show you a lot of application of this. To use that, we need to have this AI in place. I'm just going to go through a few places where AI is being used. The AI is being extensively used to retain valuable customers, because none of us like these phone calls that come to us selling a product, but if it is very specific to us, we would like to. So these AI helps to retain customers by giving the right information to the customer. I may not be interested in, say, if it is a call from a bank, I may not be interested in say for example an additional card or anything, but I may be interested in an investment pattern. So if there is an AI system that is tracking about this and they have already gathered information that I'm looking for investment, they could go ahead. So individual customer retention is possible through this. All of us know this credit risk scoring, and this AI plays a very big role, because even if I give a wrong document, a falsified document, AI in that place will be able to identify a false document and a right document, and they can help the organization make the decision with respect to this. Anti-money laundering, the AI is playing a huge role in detecting crimes in this area. I'll just go ahead to the next one, which will help us understand it better, because it's placed in a place to identify this fraud, any fraud detection. In the past, it was, fraud, actually it is like this, that they keep changing the way in which they do. The moment one pattern of doing this fraudster activity comes into light, they basically sit and invent a new method, and until the time it comes to a limelight and then some action is taken against it, it becomes a pretty long gap and we are not able to find it. So today we have nice AI in place to detect fraud, and it rejects the transaction then and there. And it will not only that, it rejects the transaction, it will flag in fraud. When I say fraud detection, I've just put a banking transaction, not only in banking transaction, in any other activity, using your passport, using any validation, giving some documents for verification, and if there is a validation on the documents, everywhere this AI is helping out with the fraud detection, including the land property documents. Today we have AI in place to find out whether it is your original document or you have a fake document using which you're trying to claim a wrong claim. And Anomaly detection, as we study the pattern, if there are any anomalies, that is any change from the regular way it is happening, immediately it will throw an alert. So in whichever business that we are talking about, if it is a healthcare and if there is an anomaly, then you have to inform your healthcare service, your caretaker, to take care of it. Or if it is in a banking, something goes wrong, the banker should be alerted about this. So in any place, because the patterns always fall in a regular pattern, if some change happens, it can immediately be notified. And AI-powered audit is another very, very important thing, because even if you have a very good company to audit your records and things, they would basically take a sample record, a particular division, a particular module, and they would do all their analysis. They will do all their auditing activity only on that volume. But having AI in place, AI can read the entire audit trail, and it can find out the nook and corner of that and find out if something has went wrong, and they can help businesses in the right direction. AI powered audit. So now we are going to go into a few samples to identify where all this AI plays a very important role. Google's AI powered prediction. I guess many of you would have used the Google Maps. The moment you provide a location and say the start direction or find out how far you are, it immediately analyzes and tells you that by walk these many minutes, by cycle these many minutes, if you take a car this is how, and if you take a bus, all such information. This kind of prediction, it's possible because they use an app called Waze. And this Waze is an app that Google acquired in 2013, and from that time they have used it in Google Maps, which helps to identify any anonymous location. If you give any location, from that it will find out and it will tell you. This is by using AI that they predict the time it takes to cover, including the multiple routes by which you could reach this place. This is also done by using this app, that is AI engine that is working. And top automakers are interested in AI because all of you might have heard about the self-driving car. There are 5 stages. It is whether it should be fully self-driving or it is manual plus this with this. So there are, in all these 5 stages, are all top automobile biggies are interested in. And self-driving car completely uses AI, including the instructions to the directions to the speed. Everything is controlled by AI. Let me come to a very important example of Uber. Uber, I guess most of you know about the surge pricing. Surge pricing, until recently, I was under the impression it happens in the peak hour. Until I read about the Uber's AI engine, because I have seen it peak during the evening hours. But recently I understood that that is being powered by AI. It has no pattern or no connection to the time at which we take an Uber. It is based on the number of Uber drivers available in a place, number of requests that are coming in a place, and the starting point and the destination that a person chooses. There is an AI engine which is there and which suggests that, and also based on the regular pattern of Uber user. I'm a regular Uber user, so possibly it would have tracked my information, and obviously it knows that every morning I take a trip to my office and I am in a need to take an Uber, and it shows me a surge pricing. The surge pricing is completely backed by an AI engine. Now, apart from this AI engine, and they also direct drivers from different location to this location, kind of things are possible with this AI. Now, coming to the next point, there is this expected time of arrival, ETA, in Uber. This ETA is also powered by artificial intelligence. So it reads the information and it tells us the time. So here, when I book an Uber, it's just not that the distance between the driver's current point and the pickup location. It also has to consider the current traffic whether it is there are too many vehicles or the traffic is lean, that the commute could happen very easily. So that is the AI engine that works behind the ETA. And the next, another important thing that many of us would have used or been, have started to use is this Google Smart Reply. Today, when you receive an email, immediately your Google Mail tells you what you want to type. If you press your tab key, depending on the message, it will tell you, okay, I will come, I'm not coming. Thanks for your response. I was looking forward for this. They have some suggested 10-15 statements in this Google Smart Reply, and the Google Smart Reply automatically suggests you reading the content of your email. It suggests, and the Smart Reply is backed by a AI engine. And Google Allo, I'm not sure how many of you have used this Allo. You may, right after this, search for YouTube videos on Allo. Allo has a beautiful emoji thing. Allo is a Google app which helps you to add emojis. So depending on your mood, the way you text itself, it will say this suggests you with the emojis that you should be using. Whether it is a celebration, it immediately sparks all these celebration related emojis. If you're congratulating somebody, it throws the emojis related to that. So that is also backed by AI. I've just mentioned Facebook, any social networking space, the recognition, it is backed by AI. We just saw that the face recognition, speech recognition, or the voice recognition, and the voice to text are the most important features of AI. All the social networking, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, all these mapping is done by this face recognition, which is supported by artificial intelligence. And a very important thing, when you submit a document, how do you say that it is your own document or you have copied from someone else? We have plagiarism checkers. So when you submit a document, when you upload your project or your thesis or your paper, these checkers are placed, and if you put your document, it will read and say whether it is, because it has already read too many papers. As I'm repeating, all the data has already been fed, it has read, it has a pattern, it has a design. So if the same words are repeating, it will find out and it will tell you this plagiarism checkers. Snapchat uses a product called an AI engine called Lenses. The Lenses has got special facial filters. These facial filters can read and understand and say whether at the moment you are happy or you're sad, and based on that the Snapchat starts its conversation with you. It's another application of artificial intelligence. Now, if these many things are there, how can I venture into this artificial intelligence? First of all, for me to venture into artificial intelligence, I need to have the data. If I do not have the data, what can I do? I can go, this is what companies do at the moment. If they are not truly into artificial intelligence, they go for artificial intelligence as a service. You may have heard of this platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, software as a service. Now we have artificial intelligence as a service. Companies are working on this, so they can use as a service and experiment and see how best it is suitable for them. So if you are exploring into it and you have the language capabilities, you do not know how to put it into the location and see it, we can take AI as a service. If somebody has an AI engine suitable to your need, your business need, you can put that. You can get the sample data that are available with these service provider also. On the sample data, you can work and see how AI would be suitable for your industry, and then make a decision on how you would want to implement it for yourself. So if AI as a service is available, who are all giving this? Amazon AI services are available. IBM Watson Assistant is available as a service. Microsoft Cognitive Services are available, and Google AI services are available. So if you are venturing, if you want to make a trial, you want to find out, you can use one of these AI services. Now, so far we talked about artificial intelligence. So in artificial intelligence, the most important thing that we see here is the ability of our machine to learn and our ability to make the machine learn. And if the machine is going to learn, we need to feed a lot of data, and the machine would start to learn. We have to put large volume of data, and over a period of time, when the machine starts to read the data, it will be able to understand the patterns and create patterns and map patterns and understand difference in the pattern and predict based on that. The way when we started, I mentioned a sloka. Now I'm again going to reiterate the sloka. When a student starts to learn, the quarter portion, 25% of what they learn from the guru. 25% of what they learn as they observe in the class, as they learn from the guru. The rest, another 25% of this, they learn from their colleagues, the others who learn along with them. And the last 25% of it is what they learn over a period of time, over experience, kala kramena cha. The success of artificial intelligence is that we make the machine learn. We tweak the way the machine learns. We give large volume of data to learn. And the last 25% is kala kramena cha. It can be achieved only over a period of time. Thank you for joining.